And this is what a firmware update looks like, eh?
Yes, it is. Whoa.
That's scary, Patrick.
Nice firmware update. I hope this is intentional.
Is it telling us something? Is that Morse code? There's
Holy
a cat.
cow.
There's a cat trapped in a blender. That can't be right. Uh-oh.
That seems really strange.
Have you ever seen that before?
Never.
Okay.
Not for a firmware update, but I can see the system has updated. This is completely different than it used to be. And I think it's okay.
Different, like useful, or just different?
Wow.
Oh yeah.
The firmware update was worth it just there alone.
Lots of glare. Yeah, well, I mean, the aesthetics of that move was just tremendous.
That's awesome. Let's see if we got the newest version here. Should be 1.4 something or other. Oh, 1.7 from 1.4. So yes, version is updated.
So it is it.
Yeah. Cool. So now I can play. Sweet.
Like the rock star.
Yep.
Okay, let's.
So
What's cool about this?
The new firmware update allows you to select. It's got digital patching, which is pretty cool. So that means, so if I've got channel 1 selected, right now it's using the analog input in the back, so my microphone input. But I can actually come up here and I can tell it to use, I don't know why I'd necessarily want to do this, but I could tell it to use channel.
But if you wanted to.
But if I wanted to, I could tell it to use, so like if something's plugged into channel 2 out in the room, I could actually go in here and say, instead of channel 2 showing up on channel 2, I could tell it digitally to have channel 2 show up on channel 1. And that's sometimes useful for routing purposes. So all I would have to do is basically say, for channel 1, use my analog input, but take the analog input from channel 2. And then that way there, channel 2 will actually show up on channel 1. So that...
Now, will that show up in the labelings up on the top? Or no?
That's a good question.
I guess.
Let's see. Oops, channel 2. And this should, oh yeah. Available source, channel 2, input, channel 1. It doesn't look like it shows up on there. Of course, I'll have to test it by sending something to channel 2 and see if it shows up over there. I'll have to hook up some mics for that. But it's kind of cool. So this actually becomes a complete internal digital patch bay. So I can assign any input to any input source. So XLR, analog, network sources. So if I had a digital patch bay set up, USB sources. So that's the stuff coming back from the digital audio workstation, or sources from the USB card or the SD card. So the nice thing about that is if I had some tracks recorded to the SD card, let's say on channels 24 and 25, or let's say 23 and 24, then I could actually say, show those on channel 1 and 2, so that when I'm mixing, then everything is down in the lower area of the mix board. And then the rest of the channels I could change their assignments as well. So it's a really handy feature. Instead of having to physically patch analog cables and route things that way, I can actually do that all through the digital patch bay here. Same thing goes for output sources. So I could actually route channels to different output sources without having to move myself from the physical location of the desk. So that's pretty cool for live sound, especially.
You happy with the update then?
Yeah, so far so good. Now we'll test it out.